everybody. Yeah, just 2 days since I made the video. I decided to open up these seeds and have a look at what they're doing, and well, they've plumped up rather nicely, and I think possibly embryonic root beginning to poke out just there. So I'm going to wrap them back up in the tissue paper and the cling film and leave them for a bit longer and see how they're getting on. Hello everybody, it's the 16th of March today, and I've removed the cling film again to double check for any germination, and I think using the cling film was a mistake, although it worked very well with the sweet pea seeds. We've got one of these seeds has just gone to mush, another is looking quite mouldy. I think this one is actually germinating. And there's definite sign of a swelling there. So I'm going to keep the damp kitchen towel over the top, but not replace the cling film. We will see what happens. Okay, so just for the sake of transparency, after I looked at the seeds, whatever that was, 16th, I thought I do want a lilac Chinese Wisteria. The other one that I have is a blue one. It's called Blue Rain, so I ordered this one. It doesn't have a name, I just bought it off the internet, and as you can see from the comparison with the Coke can, it's going to be long odds on whether I ever see this flower. But it's been nicely packaged. It was in a big box. I just want to get it out of the packaging and see what the soil looks like. I need to sharpen my knife. I used it in a repotting, trying to cut a tree out of a belly pot, and it's taken the edge off it. Well, it's in kind of a gritty mix. I'm probably just going to leave it in this pot for this year. There's the label, Chinese Wisteria sinensis. It was £6.90 and free postage and packaging, so that wasn't too bad. It's got a miniature little cane just for it to grow up. There you go. Anyway, I'll stop there, and we'll see how things go. And we'll see whether any of those seeds germinate, but if they don't, I have a lilac wisteria to work with. It's the 22nd of May, and well, zilch going on with the wisteria seeds. The one that came in the kit, I've had terrible troubles because every time I turn around it seems to be drying out, but I don't know how well that's shown up. Where the seed has been placed in, we've just got a line of that indicates to me that perhaps the seed has gone mouldy. The seeds that I had growing in the tissue, well, they just continued to get mouldy. Some of them rotted. When I had 5 left that were still seemed solid, I cleaned them up and popped them into this pot with some seed and cutting compost, and I did film that, but I've lost that piece of video somewhere on the computer and I can't find it now. So that's the problem with doing these timey-wimey things, you can miss stuff sometimes. But anyway, I'm not getting any joy out of these seeds. I'm not going to give up entirely. I'm going to pop this into a bigger pot with some substrate that'll help it to stay moist. And even though the pot itself is there's a trace of that kind of mould, maybe, just maybe, it will germinate, but at least this will stop it drying out every 5 minutes as the weather warms up. On the 2nd of March these were sown. It did say 30 to 60 days, and I suppose it's probably had about 70 days now. I'll give that a drink and then we'll see. The little seedling that I purchased online, well, it's come out. We've had some dieback at the top here for some reason. I think that was these cold nights, cold winds and the late frosts we've had. But I'm just going to nip that away. Some of these leaves look a bit like they've caught the frost a little, but it's perking up, so I think it'll do all right. It's the 8th of June today, and the Chinese Wisteria from seed has grown away really well. Oh no, wait a minute. Well, that's the spare that I bought when I thought the seed wasn't going to do anything. It's not looking terribly healthy at the minute, although it is growing away. I don't think it liked the late frost we had in May. Let's just move that to one side and we'll come back to it. Here are the seeds from the packet of seed that I bought, and here is the seed from the Bonsai kit. Nada, zilch, diddly squat has happened, and although I'm not going to give up hope and throw it away, I've kind of given up hope, if I'm honest. So at least I have this spare, and I have the other tree that I bought last year. So I have some Chinese Wisteria, just not from seed. This one I think I'm going to pot up into this slightly larger flower pot, because it just seemed to have been struggling a little of late, and that'll just give it a bit of more room to spread out its roots and get some oomph into it, as it were. Now the mix I'm using for this has got a lot more organic component to it. Wisteria famously greedy for water, and so I want to give this tree a good water retaining mix. Okay, I think that's probably enough. Yes, that's probably enough. Let's slip it out and just check the root ball. And a slug under there. Dispatch him in a minute. Well, there's not a lot in the way of root circling around, but there's also no sign of the dreaded vine weevil, which is nice. I'm going to try and take a little bit off the top here and just see if I can see anything sinister, or just find the nibari, which is indeed, it's planted very deep in that pot. Well, nothing sinister, which is great. I'm going to bare root these fine roots, but that's given me a more interesting bit of taper. So let's put some more of this in. Fairly centrally. That already looks better with that extra nibari. So I'm going to put some continuous release, no, not continuous release fertilizer, some controlled release fertilizer on there, and then top it up. Okay, make some controlled release fertilizer into the top there. Make sure it's mixed in a little bit so the roots aren't resting directly on top of it. That's probably not a very good idea. But by it being just below the roots, the water will rinse it down into the bottom of the pot rather than out of the bottom of the pot if the fertilizer was here, and it'll encourage the roots to go down looking for it. So I'll just put a little bit more just to make sure that stuff's covered, and then pop that in. Like so. And then give it a really good drink in a minute, and allow that to grow for the rest of the summer. Okay, so here we are with the other Chinese wisteria that I purchased last year, and it's growing really well. It's already put on probably 20 centimeters, 7 or 8 inches of growth, and I'm just going to let it grow this year and entwine its way up this cane. It's too young for flowering, and I just want to build the trunk and give it some girth, and the best way to do that is to let it grow, cut it back, let it grow, cut it back. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's already got some lovely movement now, which I'm really happy with at the base here. So here's a quick look at the Chinese wisteria from afar. It's the 15th of August today, and we'll move in closer, and I'll try and do that without making you too dizzy. As you can see, we've got the makings of a fair sized trunk now, which isn't bad considering it's only been growing for a couple of years since I've had it, and well, it's done its crazy thing right to the end there. So let's put the camera down and see next steps. Okay, so bringing in the trusty drinks can for scale. You can see the trunk has thickened up quite considerably, and we have quite an interesting range of movement on it. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, this is a type of Chinese wisteria called Blue Rain, and now I need to decide what I'm going to do with this. I don't want it to be a huge, great thing. Obviously, I've been allowing it to grow freely this entire season to get this growth on the trunk, which has now happened. So I'm going to remove these couple of suckers that are growing on the base, like so, and I might even have another one growing. No, that's just a weed. I thought for a moment then I had a sucker growing far enough away from the trunk that I could pull it up and start a second tree, but no. Okay, another one there, too low on the trunk to keep. And indeed, at the back there. Okay, and I'm gonna chop it. As you can see, this had already snapped off. I'm not sure what caused that. Did have a heron visit in the pond where this was stood beside after the fish, so it could be that snapped it off. I'm going to trim it there so it's a nice clean break. I'm going to shorten that piece. In fact, I'm going to shorten that back to there. and then I'm going to cut the entire top off. Do I want to keep that kind of V? Yeah, I think I do, for now at least. Okay, so try and untangle that. And awkwardly, one has wrapped itself around the cane in one direction and one in the other, it seems. And so they kind of tied themselves in a bit of a knot at the top. So it's probably, if I laid this out straight, a good 8 feet, maybe even 10 feet of growth on it in this season. But I really doubt it will flower next year. It was such a small little plant when I bought it. If you look back in the playlist, the base of the trunk was about as thin as this piece at the top here, which was what, only 2 years ago. So you can get some good fattening on these Wisteria. I've absolutely given up on the Chinese Wisteria seed that I had in the seed packet, seed bonsai kit for Christmas, and the packet of seeds that I bought as a kind of backup. I had nothing, not a sausage from those. So if you remember, I bought myself a little, tiny little Wisteria, again online. It's grown very, very little since I potted it up into this larger pot. But I have noticed that there are roots beginning to protrude from the bottom of the pot, which tells me that although I've had very little growth at the top end, it's been getting its roots out into the soil and growing on. So I think once it's sort of filled this pot with roots a little more, it should start sprouting. In fact, I can see some new shoots coming just at this point. So there's hope yet. I might try and get another packet of Wisteria seeds and try again for next spring, but I've got a couple of Chinese Wisteria now, and I've got a couple of Japanese Wisteria also, and as you'll see in other videos to come, I've got a Russian vine and a grapevine. I'm starting to be quite interested in doing some things with some vines, so I'm going to call it a day for this video, and just say thank you so much for watching. It really is appreciated. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.